Welcome to A Piece of CX. We're taking a look this week at CXone Mpower and data policies. So data policies are relatively new to CXone Mpower, but it's something that have been within the Nice architecture for some time within the Nexidia analytics suite. And as the CXone Mpower suite becomes more and more robust, more and more features from the wider suite are coming into the all-in-one solution. So what can we expect from data policies? Well, it's utilizing analytics, namely interaction analytics, to look for various different aspects of what's gone on within a call, essentially. You can create various different policies yourselves, and there are lots of different types of policies. And on this demo platform here, we've created a few policies, and we've actually had some fun putting this into play because you need to trigger them. And you'll see here on the right-hand side, I've got a profanity policy. We've purposefully been cursing each other and seeing what we can do to essentially poke the bear so that we get interactions analyzed. It all starts firstly at the highlights page. So here, risk detection on the left-hand side. This is a weekly snapshot. You can't change the time frame in terms of bringing it in. So every Monday, this gets updated. So your compliance team can come in on a Monday and see what has gone on. So if you have in-house compliance, if you have people that are looking for certain behaviors that might need to be corrected, certain types of data that might need to be removed, this is great. We can see here, I've come in on a Monday morning, there was one escalation violation, there were two profanity violations as well, and we can click into those and analyze the details, and it comes through and it says what was said. In fact, we've got a couple here that have come through. If we go back to highlights, tells us the total number of interactions. Obviously, demo platform, not a high level of traffic here. And you can change your widgets. So the unmasked sensitive information is the only one that is out the box with Nice. You'll see there's no edit functionality. But if I don't like this one, I can remove it. Likewise, I can toggle which ones I want to see here. And I can add further by just saying what I want it to be. We'll call this sensitive data. And then we'll look for our IA category. So you need to have your IA categories built. But this is really useful because you could use it for different kinds of things realistically. So that there, we've actually got 3 counts of sensitive data there. That might be more useful versus our escalations. You can't just move them up. You have to remove them and then re-add them, for example. But it's great to see from an early nascent feature for CXone. On the right-hand side here, I've got my policies pending approval. I'm going to walk you through what a policy looks like in a moment, but you can either have things manually delete or automatically delete, and you can put caveats around that. We're going with a more conservative approach here of manually deleting. So we can do various different things with it. We can see there are some that are completed without things to review. And I can look at unreviewed ones. These are still in bold, so I can go and click on them, and I can see here what has gone on with this, and I can see when it has run, when there were 0 results, all of that kind of good stuff. So we've got 3 that are pending approval, and we've got different types. So media deletion is one. We've got data erasure, so we're using that, for example, for right to be forgotten requests. So we can put in an email address or a phone number, and we can find those details. So if I click on profanity, we can see here there was a phone call on Friday, and there was lots of swearing on this call. I can confirm that happened. And here I could approve this for deletion. I'm actually going to decline that and say no, needs further review. And that goes into a declined state, and we'll see here that that has changed. I also here get notifications. So I got my notification there. I can see when things have happened. I can look at all of my different policies, when they run, if they're single or if they're recurring. I've got some that run every week. I have some that run every day. Again, think about your organization and how often you need data out of the platform that tells you certain things. So if I create a new policy, you'll see here we've got 6. There's another one on its way as well, currently controlled release. So data erasure, that is your right to be forgotten requests. Really good for helping you comply with GDPR here in the EU. Litigation hold, litigation release, these are two sides of the same coin. Say you have a legal dispute with a customer and you have recording policies, sorry, lifecycle management policies that would remove a recording. Well, what we can do there is put it on litigation hold and then it doesn't get removed. And when your requirements cease, then you can release that as well. Media deletion means that we keep the metadata, but we release the media. So we delete that media. So where we have that profanity, we might not want that recording. And playback, lock, and unlock. So if you are needing to review something, so I've got one here based on a certain disposition that locks for management review, that will lock that playback further. The other one that is coming is the ability to redact data. So that is going to be really interesting when it comes to the platform as to how that applies, whether you apply it to certain parts of a recording, which would come in line with something we hear regularly from customers, which is, can we use this call for training, but can we take away sensitive data? That might be a really good instance of that as well. And again, it helps us understand our compliance needs. Other things you might look to do here is once you've got your IA categories set up, so within Interaction Analytics, if you go into your categories, you might be looking for other things. There might be other behaviors you're looking to manage. It might be you put a whole piece around vulnerable customers. So currently going through the financial services regulations in the UK here for vulnerability, and there are a number of different pillars of vulnerability. You could map all of those out in IA and now bring them into data policies. When we create a policy, so I'm just going to go with media deletion, then you say what it's going to be called. So I'm going to call this one test. Never call your stuff test. It's really, really annoying. Let's move me over here for now. Contacts or segments, so contacts, individual contact IDs, segments, if you have multiple contact IDs in a master essentially. Approval, manual or automatic. Again, you might want to go automatic, but say you suddenly have a spike of 100, maybe you don't want to do that. One time or recurring. If you go recurring, just be aware of your options here and your end dates, and then you set your criteria. So if you're doing a right to be forgotten request, all you do is enter a phone number or email. Here we can put our start time, when to start this from, so you could backdate this. Bear in mind with IA, you have 90 days of data that you can play with here, and we can add our criteria. So it could be that something's already on litigation hold. That would be what you'd use maybe for your reverse of litigation release. You can use your categories. So here I am going to again look for sensitive data. Click away. I could add further categories if I want to. I could add agent names. So say we're doing some training with a certain agent. Maybe we're doing certain team training, bringing them up to speed. Your number they called in on, your number that they've called from, your customer details, all kinds of different data here. When you're happy with it, you create it. Now, one thing at the moment is you cannot edit an existing policy. There are no dots here allowing me to edit anything. So it is a case of, if you don't like it, delete it and start again. So hopefully we'll see that in a future release. But this is great because also you get an email when this happens. So you don't even have to be on the platform. We can bring this into view here. Look, I get an alert. I had it in the platform, but I also get the email. So I have these running 6 o'clock in the morning on a Monday because it processes data from a Monday to Sunday basis. Means I walk in, I know what policies have been triggered, what needs my attention when I first log in. So there you have it, data policies for CXone Mpower, a really interesting addition to the CXone Mpower suite, making it all the more powerful to manage interactions and understand what's going on from a compliance perspective, from a training perspective within your contact center. Thank you very much for joining us.